What's up, people? Cheers, all, and hope you guys are having a great Wednesday. So we got a pretty cool video for you guys today, thanks to the fellows over at the Bourbon Note, Ben and Greg, and of course they will be on right after we're done here. So feel free to hop on over there to their live after we wrap up here. So we got the Bourbon Note Challenge, 5 whiskeys that stand out in 5 different categories. It's a pretty cool list they came up with here. I kind of dug it. So I thought they kind of challenged all of Whiskey Tube. So I thought, hey, why not? Let's see what we can do with this. Also got Top Dog in the house. I like this. I'll be listening while I make dinner. There we go. Fantastic. Oh, it's your Friday. Even better. All right. So we also got Tater Dime in the house. Cheers, buddy. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the list without further ado. And again, thank you, Ben and Greg, you guys over there at the Bourbon Note. And if you're not subbed to the Bourbon Note, then what are you doing, people? Go on over there and give them a sub. And like I said, they'll be live right after us here. So let's get into the first one. First up is Unpopular Opinion. Now, maybe I'm in the minority here. Maybe I'm in the majority. I don't know. I feel like I'm in the minority as far as my hatred or dislike for these 2 bourbons. I'm going to bring up 2 because, I don't like either one of them. And they're bottles that I see get talked about a lot. And I don't really know why, because I think they both suck. So Heaven Hill Bottle and Bond and also Blade and Bow. I think both of these whiskeys are crap for various reasons. First, let's talk about Blade and Bow. Now, this one has actually made one of my do not buy lists. I think it's purely gimmicks. You got the stupid key here you can collect, kind of like the Blanton's deal. It talks about being, what is it, Solera aged? Is that the thing? And how there's still a little Weller in it and all that. But so for those of you that don't know the deal on Blade and Bow, so supposedly, when they first started, well, not supposedly, they definitely had some Stitzel Weller juice way back in the day. And because they didn't have a whole lot of it, they thought, well, we can add our stuff into that, but never completely empty the barrel. So there will always be a little bit of Stitzel Weller in there. That's the thinking. But when you consider the number of bottles they've put out of this crap, how much Stitzel Weller is actually even in there still? It's just stupid. And then, they got the 5 keys, which I forget represent some Stitzel Weller thing. And then the keys you can collect and you can get a stupid cup and whatever the heck. It's dumb. It's bad whiskey. It's like $45-50. And there's so many bottles I would buy over it. Unpopular opinion, I guess, but whatever. Second unpopular opinion, Heaven Hill Bottle and Bond. I think it's by far one of the worst things that Heaven Hill puts up. Actually, I'm gonna go out there on a limb and say I think that Mellow Corn is better than this bottle, and it's like a third the price. This tastes like sawdust and some kind of chemical. Not sure what, but it's awful. It's not good. I don't know why it was allocated for a long time. Thank God it's not now. It's a bad bottle of whiskey, and I love Heaven Hill, for the record. We're actually going to talk about some good Heaven Hill later. So but just this bottle, no, it's a no-go. I don't like it. It sucks. I think Heaven Hill Bottle and Bond sucks. I would take E.H. Taylor, obviously that, but I would take Evan Williams Bottle and Bond over this. I would take JTS Brown over this. And those bottles are like a third the price of the Heaven Hill Bib. So, I don't like it. I think it's a stupid bottle. And, hot take indeed. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but I'm telling you, I think I would. And the fancies know, Mellow Corn fixes everything. So, but Heaven Hill Bottle and Bond can't fix anything, not even itself. That's my unpopular opinion. Next up, we got a bottle that grew on you. And I'm not really doing a bottle. I'm doing more of like a category. So, because I couldn't think of any specific bottles that grew on me, but there is definitely a category that grew on me, and that is peated Scotch. When I first tried peated Scotch, it was definitely not for me. I thought, wow, there's some really weird notes in this and lots of funkiness. You've all heard the things: mermaids, bath water, burning tires. other things. Anyway, something involving hair. So regardless of all that, though, now I love it. I love almost every single peated scotch I've ever tried, except for basically Lefroy 10. That one can kick rocks. But outside of that, I love peated scotch now, and it's a great addition to have in your whiskey collection. It's a really cool profile once you get into it, and I think it's great. So yeah, that's my I guess category of whiskey that grew on me. Peated Scotch. Yeah, you guys should try it if you haven't yet. Ardbeg, obviously, I basically like everything they've ever done. Lagavulin, also fantastic. And there's tons more. If you want probably places to go on that, check out Bourbon Neophyte. Off the top of my head, Anthony's always talking Scotch, and he'll have great recommendations, as does Sugar Kitty. Sugar Kitty also knows a ton about Scotch, and could probably direct you better than I can. But peated Scotch is a great category of whiskey that has certainly grown on me. Also, cheers everyone that has popped in chat recently. Appreciate that very much. Next up, though, we got a bottle you won't buy again. And yeah, definitely not. EA Sailor single barrel. I don't understand why this exists, honestly. So I have this. I have the small batch, and they're not enough different to warrant the price difference in this. So this one retail is like 70, 75, and small batch is like 40, 45. This is not worth $30 more, in my opinion. I've had 3 different ones, and I've never had one that was stand out enough to warrant paying $30 more than the small batch. So I don't understand. It's marketing, and people love single barrels for reasons I don't really understand either. But nonetheless, yeah, I'm not ever buying this one again. I don't see any reason to. It's a good bottle. I would just buy the small batch because it saves me $30 and tastes basically the same. Yeah. So, no reason to own it. So not buying another one. All right. Next up, you guys could probably hear the dog barking upstairs, but he's having a great old time. Let's see. Next up on the list, we got a bottle to buy instead of an allocated bottle. And what am I thinking? The Buffalo Trace hate will continue. So here's our allocated bottle. And if you guys know me at all, then you know where this is going. Here's our stupid allocated bottle. Yeah, the dumbass horsey bottle. So there's our allocated bottle. I don't think I really need to talk much about this. I think we all know what Blanton's is. It comes with all kinds of frilly nonsense, like a bag, like Crown Royal, and it has like some stripper action going on there. And you can get your birthday and horsey toppers with letters and all kinds of nonsense. But I don't really care about any of that. So yeah, I just want good whiskey. And this is very average whiskey. So what's in this glass, though, is not. I think it's actually quite a bit better. It's very findable and has some notes that are similar to bottles of Blanton's I've had. I would say done even better, though. So I find a lot of citrus notes in most Blanton bottles I've had. This has a lot of citrus notes to me. This is Rowan's Creek from Willett. It's a few proof points higher, which I think absolutely helps. This is right at the 100 proof point mark, whereas this guy's only 93. Those 7 proof points, I think, help tremendously. I get a ton of like orange creamsicle in this bottle. I think it's a really cool bottle, very interesting profile, somewhat similar to some Blantons I've had, and I love it. And to show you I do, I'm going to drink some right now. Oh, yeah. That is good stuff. Just a nice daily. Yeah. I love this guy. If you've never had Rowan's Creek, I definitely suggest it. And, there's no 2 bourbons that are the same. So to say that this is the same as Blanton's would be a lie. But there are some similar notes. So if you like the citrus notes that you find in Blanton's, I think you would enjoy this as well. I will say there's a little more oak presence in this, which I appreciate, but just something to note. Yeah. Last up, though, we got stats versus price. This was a tough one for me. I was trying to figure out exactly what the guys were going for here. So it took me a while to kind of figure out. So if we're going to do one bad, one good, let's take the horsey off the table, and we'll take the Rowan's Creek down as well. And now let's get into our bad for the price stats, whatever the case. But first, before we move on, actually, Drifting Graham saying Rowan's Creek used to be so much better, peppery and buttery. It's not the same today as it used to be. Fair enough. That's fair. I would say I find that to be true of a lot of things. I love allocation replacements. Yeah. And a lot of folks checking in. Woods in here. Bourbon School, another great channel there. Drifting Drams, obviously, they were on with us last week. Katie and Ethan, much appreciated. And the Fancies, the lovely Fancies, all these great channels. And Troy from Bigger Drinks. Go check out all those channels. But back to it, though, the subject at hand. And that is price versus stats. So, these days, now this wasn't always the case, granted. These days, I think this bottle is bad for the price and stats. The Eagle. Now, granted, it's probably one of my favorite bottles in all of whiskey. It's a beautiful bottle. However, what's inside the bottle, again, following the Buffalo Trace nonsense, is kind of forgettable, in my opinion. It's very watery because it's only 90 proof. It is 10 years for what it's worth, but they ruin it by proofing it down to 90 proof. So, whatever. And also, should be noted, you can get Knob Creek 9-year at 100 proof for basically the same price as this used to be. Now these things are like 65, 70. At least that's what I see them locally, and that's what I hear most people paying. And I don't think it's worth that at all. Not even close. I had a hard time pulling the trigger at 30, 35, which was the old retail. So at 65, 70, I think it's absolutely stupid to buy this bottle. And as Bourbon School points out, also Russell's 10, still about $40, and I think just as good as this, different profile, but also a 10-year stated bourbon. Yeah, I would take either one of those, Knob Creek or Russell's, over this bottle. So yeah, I think that's the bad one, stats versus price. Good one, though, the absolute legend, Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. Now this, I'm just showing off my recently purchased B519. These are pretty regularly $70, so almost the same price as this, except for this is 12 years old and it's cast strength. So why would you buy this when you could have this? And if you don't like the high proof, you can always add water. You can proof it down yourself. You don't have to have Buffalo Trace do it for you. And then you can proof it down to wherever you like it at instead of 90, which sucks ass. So yeah, just buy these instead because they are absolutely killer for the price. A 12-year age stated cast strength from Heaven Hill for $70. Why would you not? I think it's the best price versus stats thing that exists. Yeah, it's an absolutely legendary bottle. So let's see here. Wood saying, I'd rather spend $25 on a bottle of Benchmark Bonded than hunt for Eagle Rare. I'm telling you, man. I've never really understood the Eagle Rare love, if I'm honest. So, yeah, there you go. That's it. Thank you, Ethan. Appreciate that. Yeah. Feel free to listen to me or not listen to me. Either way, you can spend your money how you like, but don't spend it. Definitely don't chase this bottle. Peter B saying, don't talk about Russell's 10. Some of these folks will catch on. I'm telling you. 90 proof sucks ass. Another t-shirt idea. It does. Like who cares about 90 proof bourbons these days? Anyway, let's see a few more comments before we shut down. Got a few ER picks for about 50, then stopped buying. Yeah, I mean, so if you get picks, that would probably be a different animal. Because most ERs are kind of single barrel-ish. But yeah, I've never had a pick, but I got to say, for the most part, I don't always love the Eagle Rare profile. So, but I almost always love these. Even what we call a bad batch of Elijah Craig barrel proof is not really bad. It's just not as good as the great ones. So, it's still better than most things on the shelf. So that's why I buy all of them. It's like $70 for a cast strength bourbon that's usually pretty awesome. So why not buy them? William Hall. So to be clear, you're not a fan of Buffalo Trace Distillery. I'm just wanting to be sure that Will maybe picking up on something there. No, yeah, and that's fair. That's a fair point. Will, I'm not. I think most shelfer, easy to find, or easy-ish to find Buffalo Trace stuff is watery and boring and kind of soft and fruity and forgettable. Most things from Buffalo Trace I don't find very interesting until you get into the hyper allocated stuff that, you know, nobody ever sees. And if you do see it, it's just absolutely stupid prices. Yeah, so I mean, sure, the BTAC line is amazing, but you know, who's buying those for $1,500 to $5,000? So yeah, just buy these instead because they're better. They're so much better. They're so much better than most of the Buffalo's Trace stuff that's out there, and they're $70 and pretty available. So that's my take on that. Is there anything else interesting before we shut down? Yeah, we need a To Be Fair shirt as well. Believe John Kranz. Yes, Neil Burtis' profile pic. That's right. That's how you know a wise man right there. And then Sure Kitty checking in saying meow. And again, folks, if you need questions answered Scotch-wise, which we talked about earlier, this is your guy here. He knows all things Scotch for sure. With that said, folks, though, I think we'll end it there. Thank you all those that watch live, and thank you for everyone that's watching in the future. Please feel free to hit that like button. We appreciate that. Also, subscribe if you haven't yet, and feel free to drop a comment if you're watching this in the future. And as always, folks, just remember, you can never have too much good whiskey. We'll see you on the next one as soon as StreamYard shuts down, you know, all that stuff. Where it's going to take a second.